latest ITV news in the Tyne region with Amy Lee and Ian Payne.
Hello and good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Coming up on tonight's programme, a long way from home. We'll hear from those caught up in the travel chaos as conflict in the Gulf escalates.
Cowardly and cruel. The drunk driver who killed a Durham student in a hit and run is jailed for 12 years.
A worldwide stage. The North East musical talent being given a cash boost to propel their careers.
And glamour Tyne. There's silverware galore for our sides at the Football Writers' Awards.
First tonight, though, to the worrying developments in the Middle East and how it's affecting people from here.
Yes, this conflict between the USA and Israel and Iran has spread out across the region. It's impacted on major transport hubs like Dubai, Doha and Abu Dhabi.
In a moment, we'll have some advice for those who are currently caught up in the disruption. But first, Tom Barton's been hearing from those at the centre of this story.
You see the first one being intercepted and the debris starting to fall.
Can you see that?
And the debris actually fell 400 metres from our home.
I'm shaking.
When Chloe looked out from her balcony yesterday morning, she didn't expect to see Iranian missiles being shot down.
Oh my God, there's more. There's actually more.
It's not a normal thing to look out your window and see a missile. But equally to be seeing them, the actual vision of them being intercepted is the real loud kind of things we're hearing. And it's absolutely terrifying because you see the interception, which is amazing work for the military, and we're so grateful for that. But equally, you then see the debris falling, and that's what's causing a lot of the destruction and the noise and the scares.
A teacher from Newcastle who's lived in Dubai for 3 years, Iran's missiles were flying right past her home.
At the moment, the only thing I want is to be on a flight back to Newcastle. So, you know, if that opportunity arises, then I think we would take that chance and leave as soon as we could. But, you know, this is where we've set up our life.
It's quite surreal, isn't it?
A bit surreal, really. Just a bit unnerving. But...
Michael and Amy Appleyard from York are on holiday in Dubai. The impact of explosions visible from their hotel balcony.
We started hearing some rumbles in the sky above, which turned out to be the UAE's air defence measures against the incoming Iranian missiles and drones. Later that night, the explosions got worse. They got louder and louder, like they were almost overhead, and to the point the ground was shaking in our hotel room. There were 3 of the loudest bangs I've ever heard directly above us, and it truly shook the ground and the windows. That's when we truly felt a real sense of panic and danger.
At Newcastle Airport today, the regular Emirates Airlines flight to Dubai was grounded as airspace over the Middle East is closed. There are flights most days between Newcastle and Dubai, carrying people not just to the Middle East, but using it as a hub to carry them to destinations around the world. And that means the disruption there is having a particularly big impact on people from the northeast. For many northeasterners in the Middle East, whether they're on holiday or living there, the focus now is on how and when they can make it back to Britain.
Well, Tom joins us in the studio now. Of course, lots of people will have loved ones who may be stranded right across the globe right now. Tom, what do they need to know?
Well, Ian, this is a complex and rapidly changing situation, but here is the current advice. First, for those who are stranded overseas, if you are a passenger of a UK or EU airline, you're entitled to alternative flights, refreshments and hotel stays for the length of the delay. But non-UK and EU airlines, that's the likes of Emirates, Qatar Airways and Etihad, are not covered by those rules, and so you need to check with the airline's terms and conditions. Passengers who are due to leave the UK but have had their planes cancelled are entitled to alternative flights, refreshments, hotels and refunds if you no longer wish to travel. Now, it's unclear how long this disruption will continue, so journeys in the weeks and months to come also face uncertainty.
If you're booked to travel to the Gulf on holiday next week, then I would certainly be talking to your travel organiser and figuring out what your options are. If it's a month, well, the hope is, of course, that things will be back to normal by then. However, at the moment, there is simply so much uncertainty that travel companies, if you did ask them about a trip in a month's time, would just say, wait and see.
Now, you may have to consult the fine print of your travel insurance, as acts of war are often not covered, but it is important to speak to your airline first to see if they will help. For now, though, the best advice is to keep checking the Foreign Office's and your airline's websites for the most up-to-date information, as this is in an ever-changing situation.
Tom, thank you very much indeed.
Next tonight, and a driver who drank 10 pints of beer and shots before knocking over and killing a student on a pedestrian crossing in Durham has been jailed for 12 years.
Liam Bowes from Kellow tried to burn out the car to cover his tracks after he drove away from 22-year-old law student Abigail Eggleston.
Abigail's family said she was a ray of sunshine and called Bowes cruel and cowardly. Our correspondent Rachel Bullock was at today's sentencing.
This is Liam Bowes downing 10 pints of beer and shots at a birthday party before getting behind the wheel to drive at speeds of more than 20 miles an hour over the limit. 22-year-old Abigail Eggleston was in her final year of a law degree at Durham University, on course to become a solicitor and about to get engaged. She'd waited for the green pedestrian light at the junction in Neville's Cross before stepping onto the road. Bowes, speeding through the red traffic light at 56 miles an hour, hit her before fleeing the scene, leaving her to die from catastrophic head injuries. He burned the car out to try and cover his tracks.
Yeah, it's fire damage.
But it took police just hours to find it and arrest him.
Getting locked up, all right, mate? Death by dangerous driving. You just don't have to say anything. Maybe not mention one question, something which will ever in court. Anything you do see, maybe you can mind out of it. Okay, mate?
After killing Abby, he chose to drive away, leaving her lying fatally injured in the middle of the road. It was only thanks to the quick thinking and bravery of passers-by that Abby wasn't further run over.
After leaving Abigail dying in the road, Bowes tried to lay low. He sent a text to his friend which read, "Mate, shall we order a pizza? I'm starving." A reflection, the court was told, of his utter lack of remorse. Abigail's mother, father and sister read harrowing statements to the court about their unbearable grief, describing how they called Abby Babby because she was the youngest in their family, and how receiving the call from the police that night was like taking a sledgehammer to the heart. As Abigail's parents drove through the night to Durham from their home in Northamptonshire to identify their daughter's body, Bowes was preparing a pack of lies for police, claiming he'd got a lift home with a friend that night, that he hadn't been drinking. But he was forced to admit his guilt when he was shown the CCTV footage.
We were able to prove from the CCTV he drank a significant amount of alcohol prior to choosing to get in that car and the resulting crash.
Sentencing 37-year-old Bowes to 12 years in jail, the judge told him his deliberate and willful act that night has taken a precious life, one brimming with promise, and has left a family with overwhelming grief. Rachel Bullock, ITV News, at Teesside Crown Court.
You're watching ITV News Tyne Tees. There's still to come on tonight's programme.
It was a better weekend off the pitch than on it for our top two football sides. Simon will have all the details.
And we started the week with cloud and patchy rain spreading its way down towards the south, opening up the skies for plenty of sunshine, and there's more sunshine to come. I'll have your forecast later.
The ITV Evening News continues at 6:30 with Mary Nightingale.
Coming up in the programme at 6:30, an escalating war in the Middle East. US-Israeli airstrikes continue to bombard Iran, where more than 500 people have been killed, including its supreme leader. Here, the PM gives permission for the US to use British bases as Iran's retaliation has seen the conflict edge closer to British interests in the region, with 2 drone strikes against an RAF base in Cyprus in the past 24 hours. While Brits are stranded as major airports in the Gulf remain closed. We will bring you all the latest and the rest of the day's stories at 6:30.
The funeral's taken place this afternoon for the former chairman of the Sunderland Supporters Association.
George Forster died last month, aged 99. He was a lifelong Black Cats fan, and today the club and fans showed how highly they regarded him. Chris Conway reports.
George Forster was Mr. Sunderland, and today the Red and White Army turned out at the city's Minster to show their love for one of their own. The 99-year-old passed away last month. Such was his dedication. Just 2 weeks earlier, he'd watched his team beat Crystal Palace.
The very fact that a 99-year-old has that preparedness to get up in the depths of winter and to come and at least be a physical presence is just another indication of just how dedicated he was to the club.
George's family wanted his funeral today to be a celebration of his life. A life filled supporting his beloved Sunderland, so fitting that this afternoon he was taken past the Stadium of Light one final time.
He was everything about the football club, from talking about the supporters, the passion, and again, his memory was fantastic, games, what he's doing, players.
George first began watching Sunderland at Rourke Park in 1934, before joining the Supporters Association in 1965. He retired as chairman in 2021 after over 55 years of service for his fellow fans.
This isn't someone who was, sitting on the sidelines. It was someone who was very proactive and from a relatively young age. And it's something that he persevered with from my time at the club and all through the transition from Rourke Park to the Stadium of Light. So this was the epitome of someone that you would refer to as living and breathing their club.
A dedicated supporter who adored the Black Cats. No one was happier than George to see Sunderland doing so well in the Premier League this season. His passion, devotion and loyalty, why he'll be so fondly remembered by so many in red and white.
George was a fine gentleman. His welcome when you arrived at the Stadium of Light and before that Rourke Park was almost the highlight of the day of going to the match. He was part of it, wasn't he?
Just a wonderful fellow. I got to know him quite well, and I was absolutely sure that Sunderland, this football club in the city, would give him a perfect send-off, and that's what's happened.
Indeed they have.
And we're thinking of George's family and friends today. Simon, thank you. But George's team did have a decent day on Saturday and a good Sunday night as well at the Football Writers' Awards, didn't they, Simon?
Powering local sport in the community. Octopus Energy sponsors ITV Regional Sports Report.
Yes, the great and the good of North East football, and Simon were all dressed up last night for the annual Football Writers' Awards.
And you as well, yeah. And as always, a good night was had by all, let's leave it there. Not a vintage weekend on the pitch, but that didn't dampen spirits at the Ramside Hall in Durham, as Sunderland's Dan Ballard and Newcastle United's Lewis Miley were among the big names honoured by the football writers. Please watch out for some flash photography in this report. A pretty good weekend for Dan Ballard. Yesterday morning, Sunderland announced he'd signed a new contract, and last night he picked up the North East Football Writers 2025 Men's Player of the Year award.
Yeah, it's amazing, and it's been a fantastic year for Sunderland, and I'm glad to be a part of it, and I've played a big role, and to win an individual award is also really nice.
Dan's weekend could have been even better, but Sunderland couldn't quite hang on for a win at Bournemouth. After being denied what looked an obvious early penalty, the Black Cats took the lead through Eliza Mayenda. The home side levelled after the break, and a draw was probably a fair result and certainly not a bad result. Back at the awards, the Men's Young Player of the Year was won by Newcastle United's Lewis Miley.
Yeah, it's massive. It's a real honour to get this award. I think it's massively helped with playing a lot of minutes this season and keeping on doing well, and hopefully I can do that lots more this season.
Lewis is injured at the moment, so wasn't involved on Saturday as Newcastle served up a bit of a shocker at home to Everton. This was another low point in the Magpies' wildly inconsistent campaign. Twice they equalised, but twice Newcastle then conceded again quickly. The moment that'll live longest in the memory was Jordan Pickford's genuinely breathtaking save from Sandro Tonali at the end. The former Sunderland man enjoyed his moment. Newcastle United fans did not, nor did Eddie Howe, as he reflected last night while picking up a League Managers Association award for last year's Carabao Cup triumph.
Disappointing defeat yesterday, which again challenges us in the Premier League because we've got to try and get our form right there. That is such an important... The league form is everything to us.
There was also an LMA award for Sunderland boss Regis Lebris in recognition of his team's promotion to the Premier League. The Women's Young Player of the Year was Sunderland's Katie Watson, and Women's Player of the Year was her Black Cats teammate Katie Kitching, who was away on international duty with New Zealand.
She's been a great signing. We've had her for 3 years. For those who don't know, Katie Kitchen, she's a really creative attacking centre midfielder who pops up with worldies every now and again.
Middlesbrough women were awarded for last year's promotion, and Spennymoor Town got a non-league award for their run to the trophy final. Graham Lee showed his class by turning up to get the award, even though he was sacked by Spennymoor last month. Spenny striker Glenn Taylor, who scored in Saturday's 2-1 defeat at Chester, was non-league Personality of the Year. There are 2 awards given to those who've served North East football with distinction. Last night they went to much-loved photographer Ian Horrocks and the one and only Roger Thames, Tyne T's former head of sport, my old gaffer, and an all-round top man.
To get something from the Football Writers Association is something very special indeed.
Money was raised for the Sir Bobby Robson Foundation throughout the evening, and the North East Personality of the Year award, given in association with the foundation, honoured Tony Mowbray, a great player, a great manager and a great bloke who's been on his own journey with cancer in recent years. How are you?
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Listen, I'm as good as my next scan, I would suggest to you, but feel pretty strong at the moment, feel good, feel almost ready to think about going back to football. I would like to go back to work at some stage, and let's wait and see what the football industry throws up.
Tony's well-known love of chocolate, specifically bags of Revels, provided a highlight.
As we've had a few surprises tonight, as you've seen.
It's not Revels, is it Revels?
But I've got a box of Revels.
I've got maybe 1,000 packets of Revels in the garage.
Another successful awards dinner and another chance to revel in all that's good about North East football. Good night. Sorry about the revel joke at the end there. Middlesbrough hope to keep the chasing promotion pack at bay tonight. Borough are away to Birmingham City in the Championship. Kim Hellberg's team are still holding on to the second automatic promotion place, but everybody else in the top 9 won on Saturday, so Middlesbrough could do with a positive result at St Andrews this evening.
It's pressure to put the best sessions together, find solutions for whatever problems we have. It's pressure to be the strong one and looking forward and finding solutions. So it's pressure every day in this job, and if you cannot cope with that, you shouldn't be here. So that's no.
Harrogates are making progress in their bid to stay in the Football League. Cathal Heffernan's first league goal earned them a 1-1 draw with Cheltenham. Harrogate are still in the drop zone, but only on goal difference. York City left it late, but Ollie Banks' 99th minute winner at Morecambe kept the Minster men top of the National League. Gateshead are still bottom of the National League after a 2-0 home defeat against Forest Green Rovers. Away from football, Tyneside's Billy Bolt has won a record 6th Super Enduro World title. Billy's had a nearly perfect season in terms of results, and he ended it in the perfect style by winning and clinching another world crown on home soil at the Utilita Arena in Newcastle last night. But the GB basketball team definitely did not get the perfect result when they played in Newcastle on Friday night. They were heavily beaten by Italy in a World Cup qualifier.
Simon, thanks very much indeed. Right, more awards. Music now. The Brits showed at the weekend we are not too bad at creating musical talent here in the North East. Sam Fender and Jade were nominated for several awards, with Sam picking up 2 of them.
And now some new funding is hoping to put even more artists on the road to international stardom. Amy Sutton's been to meet 2 of them.
It was so nice, he did it twice. A double victory meant it was a winning weekend for local lad Sam Fender at the Brit Awards. Breaking records as he collects prestigious prizes show after show. The next raft of emerging artists are hot on his heels for worldwide success. Singer-songwriters Andrew Cushion from Newcastle and Finn Forster from Middlesbrough have been given a financial boost from the government aimed at raising the profile of our talent overseas. And cash is not only king, it's crucial.
I can focus on just entertaining people, you know, and it really does just alleviate the stress and the pressure of you know, of the financial outgoings that it's going to cost you to go to these places. Without that funding, it would die out.
The Music Export Growth Scheme, or MEGS as it's known in the industry, has offered independent UK acts grants of £5,000 to £50,000 to break into the international music scene after finding success right here. Both artists have been the support act for the big names in music, but having sold out shows in their own backyard, tested the waters in Europe and flown over the pond, it's time for their own name to be in lights.
I haven't quite broke America just yet, I don't think, but I am definitely grateful that I was first and foremost given the opportunity to go over in the first place and play these dreamy, iconic venues that I've been able to play thanks to Louis.
Did a European tour with the Stereophonics, supporting them, which led into me doing the summer shows in the UK with them. I did my own tour, thanks to the funding that came about. I'm now in the planning phase of heading back out and doing some European stuff as well. The music fans in general, most of them will only see artists when they're at their kind of more established and more polished part of the career. No one really sees the upkeep. And yeah, I think I'm just super grateful.
They say alumni of the MEGS Fund have gone on to be Brit Award and Mercury Prize winners, chart toppers and household names. Well, we've got a good role model. Amy Sutton, ITV News.
Finn and Andrew,
great, isn't it?
backed by the North East.
Yeah.
Real talent there.
Absolutely.
Now, we're at the start of a new week. We are at the start of a new season. We can now say that spring has sprung.
Finally. I mean, it means winter is over, officially at least. And for most of us, let's be honest, it's been a season to forget. More rain and cloud than any of us would have liked.
Ross has been taking a look back at the weather over the last 3 months and the reason why we might need to prepare for wetter winters.
The sights and sounds of the changing season. The end of February marks the end of meteorological winter, and this year's early spring flowers have got a lot of watering. This winter will go down as a wet and a dull one, and that was certainly noticed here in Darlington.
It's shocking really, isn't it? Especially the dog walker, because every time he goes out, he's having to have a shower every day when he goes back in again, because his feet are absolutely filthy.
It's disastrous, isn't it? Yeah, God, yeah. And because of that, we haven't been able to play golf.
It's appalling, and I'd really like some sunshine. The weather, terrible, awful, cold. Yes, we'll all have wet feet.
Now, of course, we do love to complain about the weather, but this winter we've had every reason to grumble.
The patterns that we've been seeing are the very cold weather that we've seen over the US has strengthened the jet stream. That's causing the weather systems and storms are coming up from the southeast. There's a blocking high over Scandinavia, and that's stopping anything from moving on. So that rain is just stuck over the UK, and we're seeing more and more and more of it.
That stuck setup led to this. The blues on the map here showing where saw above average rainfall for December, January and February. That flow coming in from the east, parts of our region bearing the brunt. In fact, for England, it was the 8th wettest winter on record, and it was dull as well. Lots of cloud. In fact, our region seeing one of the dullest winters on record in the mix too. And climate scientists are saying this is something we're going to have to get used to. A team at Newcastle University have taken a look at our wet weather going back decades and found that even when taking into account natural variability, the amount of winter rainfall has been increasing.
In the UK, we're right next to a huge source of moisture, right, the Atlantic Ocean. And as that Atlantic Ocean gets warmer, with climate change, we're just going to get more and more rain in the winters. They evaporate more moisture into the atmosphere, and then the atmosphere itself is warmer as well, and that can hold more moisture.
That means our recent heavy rainfall is not just down to blocked weather patterns, but a fundamental law of physics. As the atmosphere warms, the capacity to produce more rain increases. So we need to prepare for more wet winters.
The warming that we're seeing is connected to the concentration of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. And so until we stop emitting those greenhouse gases, we're going to continue to see these rises in flooding and these extreme rainfall events.
As memories of a dull and wet winter drain away, hopes are for a brighter spring. But what will the first week of the new season bring us?
Today's forecast: seafood and sugar cube towns. TUI sponsors ITV Tyne weather.
We've started the week with sunny spells, but the cloud has been increasing, breezy conditions, bit of patchy rain in the mix too. All of that, though, is clearing through overnight. We get the clearer skies, the lighter breezes, turning chilly into tomorrow morning. But as a result of that, plenty of sunshine taking us through Tuesday. In fact, there's lots of fine weather to come as we head through the next few days. Low pressure's nearby at the moment, keeping things changeable today. The cloud, the light and patchy rain. High pressure builds in through tomorrow. We get the lighter winds, the clearer skies for a time. As we head into Wednesday, a bit more cloud moving its way up from the south and out towards the west. A narrow band of rain here, but that's really not making its move until much later on Thursday. For now then, bits of patchy cloud coming and going. We do see some clearer skies. Those will really start to develop as we pass around midnight. The clear skies, the lighter breezes, it's that combination that's allowing those temperatures to dip down. So the blues appearing on the map here, showing those pockets of frost into the early hours in sheltered spots. For towns and cities, still down at around 3 or 4 degrees. So a definite chill into Tuesday morning. But again, there's plenty of sunshine. So for many, unbroken blue skies take us right through the morning into the afternoon. We're holding on to those lighter breezes, and although on paper temperatures maybe not as mild as we saw today, with all that sunshine it's feeling rather pleasant, highs around 10 or 11 degrees. Tuesday and into Wednesday, so high pressure is staying nearby. As it makes its move towards the east, we see the flow coming up from the south, increasing the cloud for a time. So Wednesday's more a case of sunny spells, but still staying dry and bright. You can see the rain still slowly making its approach. That not really impacting us till later Thursday into Friday. Plenty of sunshine, temperatures generally holding up in double figures.
TUI sponsors ITV Tyne weather.
Thank you, Ross. Now, before we leave you, we have a little bit of news about ourselves.
Yeah, we certainly do. It was such a good night for the Tyne team at the Rourke. It was on Saturday night. We won Best News Programme. Rachel Bullock won for Best On-Screen Journalism. Steffi Orme, who's on the screen now, won for Post-Production. And the man I'm lucky to sit next to every day, Ian, picked up the award for TV Personality. We are so proud of the incredible team here, and it was great to get dressed up and have a fantastic night. Congratulations to everybody who was honoured at the awards. Very prestigious indeed, and proud.
Yeah, thank you. It was a splendid evening. Thank you to all of you for your congratulation messages and for your support in watching the programme every night.
Absolutely.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Good night.